Well, to talk more about the situation in Iran, I'm joined on set now by Alireza Baradaran, who's a former Iranian student activist. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
These protests are being described as the biggest challenge to the Iranian regime since the revolution. And there's a lot of hope that this could lead to the fall of the regime. Do you think that that's likely or even possible?
Well, it is accurate to say that this is the most existential threat to the Islamic regime since the revolution. One thing I can think about is that in 2009, protests, there was more or less the middle class that were protesting. In 2019, there was the lower economic class, and you see in Tehran, for example, in the districts with a lower income, the protests were more huge. But today, as we see, every district, every neighborhood, in every city, even small cities with populations of 20 to 30,000 people are protesting and demanding their rights. So. And the sheer population of the people protesting is unprecedented.
And, this is a testament, I guess, to the widespread nature of these protests. But is it mostly young people or really a mix?
It is really a mix because, young people have more energy, of course, but everybody in Iran, they have something to protest about. Whether it's the women, whether it's the youth, whether it's the old people whose entire life has been hijacked by the Islamic regime. Everybody has something to protest.
And I ask that because Reza Pahlavi is the son of the former Shah of Iran, has been a figure that's kind of come up multiple times in this demonstration movement. He's called on people in Iran to go out and protest, and he has apparently a blueprint for the future of Iran if the regime were to fall. Can you tell us more about this?
Well, certainly I do not actually know about his plans, but one thing that I am sure about in the future protest, one main issue that the Iranian protesters has, that there was no single leader. There was no one that could actually talk on behalf of Iranian people. Well, at least most of the protesters. But this time, against, in the contrary to the previous times, this is not a headless protest. In the 3 years ago, when the protests were going, the lack of an opposition leader, the lack of a unifying figure was something very serious, and that's why people back then really didn't hope that this was the end. But this time, this is entirely different. People are actually listening to someone that is calling for people to protest, and this is unprecedented. In 2009, there was opposition. Well, there was a leader of the protest, but he didn't actually call for regime change. This time, the guy that is, we can say, leading the protest is actually calling for a regime change, and that is unprecedented.
And Reza Pahlavi isn't necessarily supported by everyone in Iran. Can you tell us why?
Well, there are a lot of different groups in Iran, some ethnic groups, some people that they might not see monarchy as a good option. But what I see, that even people that are not pro-monarchy, that are Republican, that are advocating for ethnic groups, because of this special moment that people in Iran are actually calling for someone, they're saying that we are ready to put aside our differences this time, only focus to topple out the regime, and then we can discuss the form of the future government, the different aspects of the thing that we want. But I'm seeing more and more this is our converging in a single opposition leader.
And Pahlavi is saying that he doesn't think that there should be military intervention or any outside intervention to try to make this regime fall. Do you think that the protesters alone can achieve this?
Well, to look at the history, the foreign intervention, a lot of times it worked and a lot of times it didn't. We can see here in France that the foreign intervention of the Allies liberated this country. We can say in Poland, we can say in a lot of countries. In South Korea, the intervention of US helped. Now 50 million South Koreans are living in peace and prosperity. And of course, there are some foreign intervention that happened and didn't work, like Iraq and Afghanistan. It depends very much on. But the thing is, that the Iranian people are alone fighting against the government that is employing help from different countries. They are getting intelligence help from China, as they say. They're getting help from Russia. They are having militias from Iraq and Lebanon brought into the country to suppress the people. So it is only sensible that people are asking for foreign help, because the government is asking for foreign help from his allies, and it's only sensible for the people to ask for the help.
You mentioned in previous protest movements there weren't any head or any group leading them. Can you give us an idea of the state of the opposition in Iran?
Well, there are... to say there is a group that call themselves reformists, but the reformists in Iran, they are another wing of the Islamic Republic, only dressed differently. And some opposition groups, for example, I can think of people in prison, but they are not really the people, or maybe they don't widely know them, or they are not pro what they are advocating for. We see in the streets, there is no other name that is being called. I'm not necessarily saying it's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just saying a state of the obvious. And therefore, the opposition, I think it's the sensible option to advocate for what people are actually calling for and not for their ideals.
And we've seen, obviously, this terrible crackdown.
Yes.
We've seen those body bags in the morgue there in Tehran. What do you think can happen going forward, especially if the regime survives this?
If the regime survives this, first of all, up until now, there was a bloodbath. When I was coming to the studio, I heard the news from Iran International that says in the past 5 days, the amount of dead is now up to 12,000 people. And they are not just numbers. Imagine 12,000 people getting killed. If the press and the media is not talking about this enough, especially the people that they call themselves activists, human rights activists, if the president of France ordered the slaughter of 12,000 cattle, there would be more reaction than 12,000 people. This is unprecedented, and this is not over. If this Islamic Republic survives this, there will be campaigns of revenge, not only in Iran, but also outside Iran. So a French taxpayer, a United States taxpayer might ask themselves, why should my government intervene in a problem that is not mine? Well, Iranian government, the Islamic Republic, won't confine its revenge on its borders, like the 1880s that they started campaigns of terror outside the borders. They will do it. If you don't want, God forbid, 10 incidents of Charlie Hebdo in France, backed by Islamic Republic terrorists, then the free world leaders should act, and they should act now, because this chance might not happen again.
All right, Alireza Baradaran, thank you very much for being with us on France 24.